One of the driving force of humanity is to actually stretch limits.
The idea of setting a record is something we've all thought about, whether it be a sports record, a record about making something that no one else has done before, having the biggest or heaviest of something, and on it goes. There are people who well and truly dedicate their lives to going and trying to achieve records of some kind, which is why some records are weirder than others. Allow us to show you 13 insane world records you'll never see ever again. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 13, heaviest onion.
This onion has broken the world record!
We've all heard of records that center around the biggest or heaviest of something, especially when it comes to foods. Usually, it focuses on things like pumpkins or tomatoes or even cucumbers. But one thing that many didn't think about is the world's heaviest onion, which is what Tony Glover of Leicestershire, England grew. This particular world record-holding onion took over a year to get fully grown, and it was 100% natural means, to be clear. Its final weight was 181 pounds and 12 ounces, which was 32 inches in full width. Tony Glover said he knew exactly what to do when he was trying to make this monster onion. I give them a nitrogen-rich food and have to make sure the humidity is just right. I've also got grow lights fitted to the greenhouse to simulate the sun when the days get shorter. That's dedication to a craft, and hopefully you can see why this onion might be hard to beat on the world record scale. Number 12, being pulled by a horse while on fire.
I will try to get pulled by a horse about a distance over 500 meters.
As noted earlier, there are people out there who dedicate themselves to getting a world record, even if it's pretty out there. And the record of being pulled by a horse while on fire is one such example of that. This record is just what you would expect of it. Josef Totling from Austria, in this case, had to be dragged by a horse for a certain distance and have his body encased in flames so that he could earn the record. But it's a bit more complicated than you might think, because an ATV had to go alongside him as he was being dragged and spray him with gasoline in order to make sure that the flames were alight. After all, a body being dragged along the ground can put out flames. Joseph set the new record as being dragged 1,640.42 feet, and again, all while being on fire. He then set another record for doing the same thing while attached to a quad bike. Why he felt the need to attempt such records in specific ways, the world may never know. Number 11, throwing a ton of bricks.
And that's a mile further than the width of the English Channel, but I'm going to be doing it while pulling a ton of bricks.
Strength feats are very popular for world record attempters, but for Jim the Shark Dryer, he decided to do that in a more unique way by pulling a half-ton of bricks while they were in a boat, while he himself was towing the boat through swimming. To be clear, when combining the bricks and the boat, the weight was about a ton, and he was swimming across a lake, specifically Lake St. Clair, while attempting this. There were a lot of dangers in this, and the event itself took 3 days to complete, and there were some interesting things happening to him along the way. The hallucinations were entertaining. A ship sailed to me, then dissipated, and I saw a man in a white robe on the water. I'm thinking it was the Big JC. That must have been some trip, literally and metaphorically. Number 10, most socks put on one foot in 1 minute.
My foot's getting nice and fat already.
Have you ever heard of someone attempting a world record featuring clothes? Not often, right? This fact, though, didn't stop Silvio Saba from trying to put on the most socks on a single foot in under a minute. Yep, this is real. He was able to do it too. He was able to put on 45 different kinds of socks onto his foot before the minute was done. What might make this even more insane is that Silvio Saba is actually a guy with multiple records under his name. Some for his clothes, some for chocolates, one for batteries, and more. So again, there are people who live for record breaking, even if it means doing some very odd ones to get the records. Number 9, longest sword swallowed.
I don't think I want to ask you what it is, but is it dangerous?
Oh yeah.
In the circus, the act of sword swallowing is usually performed by someone who does it as a trick, or by someone who knows how to manipulate the sword to go down their throats without issue, like Natasha Verushka. She is a professional sword swallower, and in 2009, she set the world record for the biggest sword swallowed by putting a 22.83-inch metal sword down her throat and pulling it out without issue. She trained herself to do this act, practicing the craft for years, so not so ironically, she did the record on February 28th, which is now celebrated as Sword Swallowers Awareness Day. Number 8. Highest and longest wire walk above sea level.
I will adjust to that wind as best that I can, and that's the only reason why I'm able to take that first step.
The tightrope walk is by and large one of the most dangerous things a person can do by any metric, and yet many people from circus performers to the Wallinda family have prided themselves on this feat. One who did the tightrope walk to a new extreme was Switzerland's Freddie Knock. For he not only decided to do a tightrope walk, he decided to do it without a balancing pole, and while going uphill Germany's highest mountain, Zugspitze. From start to finish, he walked 1 kilometer and gained 348 meters in altitude. He could have gotten pushed over by winds, gotten elevation sickness, and more, but Knock held steady and now has a dual world record for the tightrope walk. He is by far braver person than we. We're not ashamed to admit that. Number 7, most straws in a mouth.
This guy from India won the world record for putting 496 straws in his mouth.
On August 6, 2009, Simon Elmore held 400 straws stuffed in his mouth during the Mark and Simon show in Germany. But it wasn't just that. Once he had them in his mouth, he had to keep them in for 10 seconds without using his hands. It also should be noted that these weren't small straws or thin ones. These were your average, everyday straws, and he got 400 of them in his mouth. Somehow. Number 6, farthest distance to blow on a pea.
Broke my 76th Guinness World Record furthest distance to blow a pea in one breath.
Yes, this is real too. David Rush of the US has the record for blowing a pea the most distance using only the air in his lungs for a single movement, meaning that he took in one breath, let it out, and got the pea to go a certain distance. How far did it go? 41 feet, 3.5 inches. According to David, he did the record in order to promote STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, in schools. Number 5, mountain running 36 vertical kilometers.
Anyway, you keep going. Well done.
All right.
Ultra running is the feat of doing a distance while only running and going farther than any marathon or other race that is out there. You're going full stop to achieve a goal, and in this case, the goal was to do the Lake District Loop in England's hill country. Once upon a time, a man set the record of doing 512 kilometers in distance, 36 kilometers straight up, 214 peaks in just over a week, and that record stood for 27 years. Then, Steve Birkinshaw came and did the impossible course in 6 days and 13 hours, setting a new record. Following that, in 2019, Paul Tierney came and broke that record by doing it in 6 days and 6 hours. You have to be truly incredible to do this record. Number 4, most telephone directories torn in 1 minute, female. Lindsay Lindbergh is known for being one of the strongest women in the entire world, and in 2014, she set a world record for tearing up 5 1,000-page phone books, or directories as Guinness likes to refer to them, in under 1 minute. That's impressive. Number 3, most rotations hanging from a power drill in 1 minute. Let's talk about the most rotations hanging from a power drill in 1 minute, which is a very real record that was done by V. Huijiang of Germany back in 2008. By rotations, we do mean full body rotations. He put the drill into the roof, left himself dangling in the air, then turned on the drill and hung for his life as the drill quite literally spun him around and around. In the end, he got 148 rotations in his attempt. Number 2, farthest tightrope walk in high heels.
Guinness World Records requires you to have at least 4 inches on your heels to be able to attempt this record.
Oksana Shiroshin of Russia has done something in regards to tightrope that few have ever dared to do before: walk it in high heels. This is a specific kind of risk because there's not a lot of room to maneuver on such footwear. Yet Oksana Sorostin went on to Lo Show di Record in Milan, Italy on the 10th of July in 2014 and walked 15 meters on the tightrope while in those shoes, doubling what the previous world record was at the time. Wow. Number 1. Longest released song.
Hey, do you guys want to hear an awesome new song? Trust me, it's like really good.
Think of the longest song you've ever heard, period. Now be shocked in that no matter how long it is not even close to the record for the longest song. It's true, the world record for the longest released song is The Rise and Fall of Bossa Nova, a 13-hour, 23-minute, and 32-second song by PC III, Michael and Kelly Botswick, and the song is a whopping 13 hours and 23 minutes and 32 seconds long. Yes, a 13-hour song exists. Be glad you don't have to listen to it for any reason other than self-interest. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the various world records that are out there, that have been set and are likely to not be topped in their categories? Which ones did you find the most outlandish? Which ones can you not believe someone attempted to do? Do you think there is a record on this list that might just be beat? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.